Hey there, Screaming Ghostface collectors. I'm your host, Douglas, here at Dromboy Productions, bringing you another Screaming Ghostface collectors video. Today we have a very special video featuring some very special items, and there actually is kind of a theme for today's video. Everyone's always talking about the final girl, and in the case of Scream, the final girl would be none other than Sidney Prescott. We all love Sidney. However, another character that has also impacted the franchise almost just as much, and they had very little screen time, is none other than the first girl, Drew Barrymore, aka Casey Becker. And today's video is pretty much exclusively themed around Casey Becker and showing some love to Drew Barrymore and how her role impacted Scream. Now in this video, we're not going to talk too much about her role specifically, but more so about some Drew Barrymore and Casey Becker related Scream collectibles. Though I must say, even though Drew had a very small part actually in the film, the impact that she had on moviegoers was pretty massive. Being that she was predominantly shown on the advertising for the film, she appears on the poster artwork. As we all know, like there's a custom VHS cover, but that was obviously after home release. It was a situation where many people going into the film thought that Casey Becker or Drew Barrymore was going to be the main character. However, after watching that opening scene, they were quickly proven wrong. And in many people's opinions, that opening scene is one of the best openings to a horror film of all time. And in my opinion, it still holds up as one of the best. Everything about it was fantastic. It's certainly one of the most iconic scenes from the entire franchise still. And to celebrate that, we're going to take a look at some very cool, very rare pieces. I don't even know what to start with, so I'm just going to start with probably what is the coolest piece out of anything we're taking a look at today, in my opinion. And it's just because I've been looking for one of these for almost a decade. And when I say looking, I mean every single day, scouring online, all the different websites where you can purchase things, trying to find one of these. And in fact, I only know of maybe 3 or 4 in the entire hobby, so they are very, very rare. I'm proud to announce and to show you all that I recently found Casey Becker's Bell South phone as seen in the opening to Scream 1. This is a very, very cool piece to find. For those of you who are huge Scream fans and collectors, a lot of people collect the masks. Some people collect everything. They try to get the accurate boots, the most accurate robes, they even pick up the different phones from the franchise, and one of the hardest ones to find, and the most elusive by far, at least out of any of them that I can think of. Like I said, I have looked every single day. I have actively been trying to find one of these for a very long time. And I've only seen a few pop up in the collector's world. And the few people that have them don't want to sell them. Usually, you're not going to find anybody that's willing to part with these. And if they do, they're going to ask a hefty sum, which, I mean, on one hand, they are rare. On the other hand, it's just an old phone. But to Scream fans like myself, obviously this is a very, very cool piece to have on display. And not only was I able to find one, but I found it boxed. And the box is in such great condition that it's literally like brand new right off the shelf. Like, I could realistically send this thing off to be graded, guys. I know that's crazy to say and quite odd, but I don't think it's ever been opened. There's no wear and tear on the box whatsoever. It's literally as nice and new as the day it was made. Now, as far as knowing that this is the correct one, there are a couple of places out there, if you really, really dig, that do actually talk about the model number for this phone, but it's not really commonly talked about, so I will share that with you all here in a second. But the main way that I was looking for one is the actual style of the phone. There are a few screenshots where you can tell that it does say that it's a Bell South, but beyond the Bell South logo, the only thing that I really had to go off of was this little black rectangle at the top here where it says 25 channels and it has the talk button. So I've been looking everywhere to try and find one that matches. And of course, after finding this one, I did cross-reference just to make sure it was the exact model, because there are many models that look very, very similar. But you can take a look at it yourself. Of course, I'll be sure to throw in some, photos from the movie. I don't know if I'm going to unbox this one yet or not. I'm still back and forth on it, but it's for sure the real one. Now, as far as the model, this is a Bell South 25 channel cordless phone, and the model number is 3581Z. So 3581Z. If you're looking for one, you can put that online and try and help you find one, but honestly, Not too many people are going to identify it specifically by that number, but yeah, this is the very same phone that Casey Becker was clutching onto while she was being dragged across her front lawn, getting ready for her final fate. And obviously it does have a decent bit of screen time. A lot of people do confuse this with a much larger brick phone, and they are very different, but super happy to find one of these. Like I said, my personal opinion, just because the amount of time that I spent looking for them, how rare they are, and something that's not easily identifiable as a Scream collectible, this is probably the coolest piece in today's collection. But don't worry guys, and don't go anywhere. We have some very cool stuff coming up next. The next couple of items in today's video are courtesy of fellow fan and collector and one of my friends, Nate Reagan, over at Reagan Productions. Nate has had this piece for quite a while, and he's offered it to me once before. I almost went for it, but didn't have the funds at the time. Luckily, he didn't sell it, because now, about a year later, it has ended up here anyway. And I'm very happy to add this, because this is, of course, one of the most elusive signatures that you can add to the collection. You can already tell, based on today's theme, what it is. Here we have a Ghostface mask signed by Drew Barrymore herself. Yes, it is just an ultra white, but regardless, I challenge you to go online and find a mask signed by Drew. They're very difficult to come across. Every once in a while you might find one that pops up, but honestly, it's one of the rarest and hardest to get signatures out of anything Scream related. And I also do gotta say, I love Drew's signature. She signs with a heart. Her signature itself is pretty short and simple, but the heart's a nice little touch. And this does have a special tag attached to it. So, this was from Scream Comes Home in October 2018. This is a limited edition mask, number 19. I don't exactly remember how many there were. I think 25, maybe more. Maybe it says it on the back of the tag. We'll find out in just a second. But yes, this was from the Scream Comes Home event. It was the first event where everyone could go party at Stu Macher's house. And of course now there are plenty of tours there. You can go check that out pretty regularly. But still, at this point in time, this was like a once-in-a-lifetime event. And this was a very special mask that was issued somewhat by Fun World for this event specifically. Okay, on the back there is a number and some more information. The Scream Comes Home limited edition masks were provided by Fun World exclusively for the event and have been hand numbered and stamped with a red logo on the back of the mask, limited to 55 units. So this is an officially licensed Fun World item. Even though it is an ultra white, this is still something that was officially issued by Fun World. So very cool collectible piece regardless of the signature. But as far as the inside stamp here, it has a stamp which says Scream Comes Home limited edition mask, and it is numbered number 19. So even if your tag did get detached somehow, you would still have that verification on the inside as well as it being numbered. Now unfortunately it does show through the mask just a little bit right behind Drew's signature, but overall I think it just gives it a slightly more unique appearance. I also did notice, looking at the shroud here, that there's kind of a phantom of part of her signature of the heart here, where it was signed and I guess handed over. Some of the fabric touched the wet Sharpie, and so you got a bit of transfer. I know that that's not really that big of a deal, but I don't know, I love seeing cool stuff like that. Overall though, a very awesome addition to the collection. Like I said, Drew's signature is very hard to come by, and being able to get her phone right around the same time as when the mask arrived was super awesome timing. Technically I did pick this up from Nate, I think a little over a month ago. He's been busy, I've been busy, so he's been waiting to send that over, but it finally arrived, I think a day after the phone arrived. So again, just perfect timing here. Another piece I'll show you guys real quick was actually shown in a recent video a little over a month ago. This piece also comes from our friend Nate Reagan. Here we have a mask that was actually used on Drew Barrymore's show for a special Scream edition of the show. And this particular mask was worn by Nate Reagan. So there are photos of it on set. It was obviously used during filming, which is very cool. And it is another ultra white, but it also has yet again another connection to Drew Barrymore and Casey Becker. So I think I'll end up displaying both masks and the phone beside each other because it just fits so well. If you want to learn a little bit more about the mask or the event itself, you can go check out the video specifically on this piece, but I felt like it was worth showing in this video as well. And the reason I say that is because also included in this package was Nate's ticket to the Drew Barrymore show. You can see there the Drew Barrymore show logo, and it says, "Congratulations, this letter is your VIP tickets for the Drew Barrymore show. We look forward to having you in the studio live audience. Please read this document carefully for information and guidelines. It has the date, which was Wednesday, January 5th of 2021 at 1:30, and then it has total number of guests. It has Nate's name, the full address. I may actually have to kind of blur that whenever I showed that. I didn't realize that was on there. And then, of course, there's like plenty of stuff where it's telling them they have to be vaccinated because this was obviously around that time period. So lots of information regarding that and some of the stuff as to what's going to be going on at the show itself. So more paperwork, giving some more provenance to that mask, and also just, it's really, really cool getting a little peek behind the curtain at what it's like to be a VIP guest to the Drew Barrymore show. I'm going to take a quick detour from Casey Becker and Drew Barrymore to show you this that Nate sent along as well. This is a pretty special gift, and there's one piece that he did forget to include in this package as well, but it will be coming with the next one. Here we have an AudioVox MVX 406 manual. Now, for those of you who know your phones from Scream, you would know that this is Roman Bridger's phone. And if you know Nate Reagan is a collector, you're probably putting two and two together and seeing where this is going. This is the original manual to Roman Bridger's phone from Scream 3. I know that this is not used on screen or anything, but it still does have some production provenance to Ghostface's phone, which is too freaking cool. Now, I mentioned that Nate did forget to include a piece, and the piece that he forgot to include is the actual charger to Roman's phone. You guys are probably thinking, wow, this dude is such a nerd, he's over here geeked out about a phone charger. And yeah, I am. I know it's weird, I know it's not technically seen on screen at any given point in time, but that's the charger that gave life to Ghostface's phone. It's a really, really cool production piece to have added to the collection, especially because I do have the same model used as Roman. So you can best bet when the charger gets here, I'm going to use it to charge up my very own Ghostface phone. I know, weird detour, but I just thought I'd mention that real quick, and also go ahead and mention to you all, we do have some very, very special videos upcoming where I do have some more items that I received from Nate Reagan that I didn't want to put specifically in this video. I felt like breaking them up into a couple different videos because there's some really, really cool stuff. But yeah, as far as this stuff goes, I just want to give a huge thank you to Nate for gifting me those awesome pieces. I greatly, greatly appreciate it, as always. And I'm super happy I was able to find one of these phones. Now, we do have one last piece I want to take a look at. This is something you've probably already seen here on my channel before if you're a big Screaming Ghostface fan. Here we have an original cast of Casey Becker's head from that hanging dummy prop from Scream 1. Artist Douglas Ulrich actually happens to own the molds to these, and initially I was sent one, I finished it up, did a pretty decent job on it, somebody wanted it, I was willing to part with it, and so I didn't have one. So then I ordered another blank, which is this copy. And right around that same time, another person had bought one from Douglas and sent it to me to have it painted and finished up. I did do a full video of the full process of putting that together. If you guys do want to see that, it's here on the channel somewhere. And yeah, this one was picked up not to be a bust, but to make the full Casey Becker corpse. And of course, since I now will have the space at the Lucky Rabbit to put this stuff on display, I can go ahead and have a full corpse made because I'll have somewhere to put it. As of right now, there's nowhere to put it. But yeah, with that being said, I think that pretty much covers it for today's video, guys. I know not a ton of stuff, but we definitely had some very, very cool additions to the collection. The Drew Barrymore signed mask is an incredibly awesome piece and probably one of the coolest signed pieces I have here in the collection because of how rare that signature is. But, alright, the camera's overheating. It's definitely time to cut the video short. But I was saying that this phone in box is for sure one of the rarest things I found in all my years of collecting. Super happy to have that. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I love you all. Thank you for watching and see you next time.